We got the S24 versus the S20 FE. Be sure to drop your requests so we can go ahead and get through these. Alright, so basically this could be a pretty decent upgrade for the most part here. I think it's really going to come down to the cameras in this comparison, honestly. Let's go ahead and talk about the hardware. So hardware on here, it is a pretty nice upgrade for the most part here. You do get a glass and metal design on the S24. It's got the matte finish. It's IP68 dust and water resistant, and it overall just looks a little bit more modern compared to the S20 FE. The S20 FE has a plastic back and metal sides. It's also IP68 dust and water resistant, and it does have kind of like that matte finish as well too. I think they both look pretty nice. Obviously the S24 is, looks better, but the S20 FE I think is easier to hold. It's a little bit more comfortable. The S24 is definitely a little bit more boxy. But it's not that big of a deal because it is a much smaller phone. So with it being boxy, it's not that big of a deal, but the S20 FE definitely more comfortable. So a big hardware difference here is that one, the S24 is actually a little bit smaller and it's actually a little bit thicker. Well, not really. It's actually not that much thicker. And also, it does have SD card support, the S20 FE. That is a feature you will be losing if you upgrade to the S24. Alright, so let's talk about the displays here. So as you can see, the S20 FE, it is a bigger phone at 6.5 inches. It's a Super AMOLED display, 120Hz HDR10+, 1080p 407 for the PPI. The S24 has a 6.2 inch display, Dynamic AMOLED LTPO display, 120Hz HDR10+, but it does have a max brightness of 2600 nits. So it is a much brighter display in direct sunlight, and it's also 1080p 416 for the PPI. So I wouldn't necessarily say that this is a big screen upgrade for the most part, especially if you're not really outdoors like that a lot. For the most part, they actually look pretty much alike in terms of display quality, and like I said, they're the same resolution as well too. Where you will see the difference is, like I said, with the max brightness, and also you will see the difference in like screen bezels, I guess, but I don't know how important that is. Like the aesthetics of the S24 is definitely better when it comes to those bezels and stuff like that. But overall, I wouldn't necessarily say that this is a big screen upgrade here. They're both 120 Hz. They both pretty much look the same to me. Like I said, the only real upgrade here is that the S24 is brighter outdoors. Alright, let's talk about the specs a little bit here. So we are running Android 14 on the S24. This phone will actually get 7 years of major OS updates. The S20 FE got its last major OS update with Android 13. And yeah, so it's only getting security patches right now. That could be a reason why. I think, like I've said this many times, I think the software updates could definitely be a little bit overrated for the most part. But I might make a whole video about that anyway. But as you can see, the scores here, big difference with the scores here. Of course, you have, a newer chipset on the S24. It is the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. The base is 128 gigs and 8 gigs of RAM. The S20 FE does have the Snapdragon 865 chipset on here. It does have micro SD card support, 128 gigs and 6 gigs of RAM. And yeah, so you are going to get a performance boost, but you guys know me. If you are somebody who is not running benchmarks and stuff like that, the noticeable difference is very minimal, right? So the S24, it definitely is faster getting into applications and stuff like that, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's noticeably faster to the average person, or even to somebody who's honestly like a tech enthusiast or whatever. Yeah, they just feel the same. Like the S20 FE is still pretty fast for the most part here. Google Earth, you guys can see, so it's like right behind it. So I wouldn't necessarily say for the average person that this is like a big speed upgrade for the most part. Now software wise, you are going to be getting now the Galaxy AI stuff, which is going to be big in the coming years. Like AI is going to be like the new thing. They have a lot of like translations, live interpretations, the photo editor. They have the circle to search thing on here as well too, which I actually do use quite a bit. So You just hold the button down. You can circle anything and it'll pretty much like find it. And it's very accurate, so you will be getting those AI features, but that's about it for like the software. You still have essentially all the same stuff that One UI offers. Alright, so if you are a gamer, the S20 FE still does pretty good as far as the gaming goes here. So I think that if you're a hardcore gamer, you will benefit a little bit. So like there is no 90 frames on the S20 FE on the Snapdragon model. And it still does pretty good HDR Extreme at 60 frames. I think it's pretty decent for gaming still. You can still pretty much play anything, PUBG, Call of Duty Mobile, whatever. But yeah, you will get the better settings on the S24. You will get that 90 frames option on here. And yeah, so, you know, optimization might be a little better. Obviously, the GPU is more powerful in the S24. You know, you really would have to be like a, you know, a hardcore gamer, somebody who plays games a lot to really feel the benefit of, you know, this chipset. If you are just a casual gamer, you absolutely do not need to upgrade for performance. It's just not necessary. Let's check out these speakers at max volume. Yeah, so I have to turn Dolby Atmos off there so I could. Yeah, so the S24 definitely has the better speaker. It's louder and has more bass, and it's overall just a cleaner sound here. And yeah, I don't have Dolby Atmos on this one. Yeah, so yeah, overall just a cleaner sound on the S24 for sure here. Now there is another smaller upgrade here. You are getting the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner now, so it's a little bit faster than the optical one. The optical one is still pretty good on here. It's just like it's not as quick as the S24. Like I said, just a very minor thing here. Now I have to unlock it. But yeah, so you know, very minor thing here, but it is a little bit faster. Alright, so let's talk about the cameras here. Alright, so let's talk about the cameras here. So on the S24, you do have a 50 megapixel standard and a 10 megapixel telephoto, 12 megapixel ultra wide. It shoots in 8K, 24 and 30, and then you have a 12 megapixel selfie cam that shoots in 4K 60. The S20 FE has a 12 megapixel standard, and then it also has an 8 megapixel telephoto, 3x optical, then a 12 megapixel ultra wide. It shoots in 4K 60, and then a 32 megapixel selfie cam that shoots in 4K 60 as well too. So I took some side-by-side videos. I'll let you guys check them out. I thought it was pretty interesting. I thought some of the photos were actually kind of close, but be sure to let me know what you guys think. Alright, lastly, let's go ahead and touch on battery life here. The battery life is better on the S24. I think this is where it's just a really good upgrade. And it also is a smaller battery, but still giving off just better battery life. It's got a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, 25 watt charging, wireless and reverse wireless charging. The S20 FE has a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, 25 watt charging, and wireless and reverse wireless. But like, even if the S20 FE was brand new, it still wouldn't have as good battery life as the S24. It is extremely good, especially with standby time too. It's just a good battery upgrade. So if you're somebody who's really battery conscious, you want a really good battery life. Like I said, last year and this year is like the year for small phones. Having good battery life is like very impressive. So be sure to let me know what you guys think. Which phone would you guys pick up? And I'll catch you guys in the next one.